text matching using Turnitin. So in my course, I'm going to first go to assessments assignments. I'm going to create a draft submission so students could see what the text matching and the artificial intelligence matching score is before they submit it to me as an assignment. So I'm going to click on new assignment and I'm going to call it text match draft. I'm going to leave it ungraded. There's no due date. I don't need to change the submission completion because it allows all submissions to be kept. This unlimited, by the way, refers to how many documents at one time they can submit. Usually it's just one, but they can resubmit as many times as they want. However, using Turnitin, only the first 3 submissions will get an immediate report. The ones after that will take 24 hours to generate a report, but they can do that if they need to. In the instructions, I'm just going to tell them that. And I'm going to go down to evaluation and feedback. This is where I manage Turnitin. So I'm going to turn on the ability to run a Turnitin similarity report. And I'm also going to allow the students to see their scores. Then I'm going to go down and go more options. And I'm going to change the repository instead of the standard repository to do not store the submitted papers. This is because I don't want this draft submission to check against the real term paper submission and the real term paper submission saying this paper has already been submitted in the draft submission. I don't want the draft submission to submit that to have it checked against. So I'm going to leave it do not store. And by the way, even if it is stored, it's not we don't give it to other institutions. It's just internally here within Mount Royal University. Then I'm going to go down to the similarity report and change it from the default, which only allows students to submit 1 time, to students can submit 3 times. And then I'm going to hit submit. Then save that. I'm going to make this from hidden to visible and save and close. Now I can make my real term paper assignment. So Turnitin or term paper. And it is graded. I graded out of 100. I am putting it in the grade book. I am setting a due date. And availability dates and conditions, these are optional, but I might want to set a date that I will not allow students to submit until after a certain date. I'm not going to do that, but that's an option. I also can set a hard due date to say I won't accept papers after this date. Maybe it's 3 days after this day, or maybe it's the same one if it's enforced. For me, I'm not going to include it. I'm going to keep the same submission completion. You might wonder, well, wait a minute, what if the student submits more than once? Won't that have the same problem that it did in the draft? It will not. As long as it's the same assignment, if the student submits more than once, they won't interfere with themselves in text matching. I can put in instructions typed it in, or I can upload instructions, or leave this blank if the instructions exist somewhere else. In evaluation and feedback, I'm going to turn Turnitin, enable the similarity report. But in this case, I'm not going to allow students to see it. I'm also, if I have students who have come to me after reading the course outline and seeing that we're using Turnitin for text matching and they object and want to have a different way, then I would have to choose identify individual submissions instead of automatically. That will make more clicking for me because I'm going to have to click each one. You'll see that in a minute, but at least it follows that policy. So I'm going to leave it on this for this example. I'm also going to go down to more options. I'm going to leave this actually on the same thing. I'm going to standard paper repository so that it will be checked against other students submitting in this course. But I'm going to keep it on the same generate report, which is students cannot resubmit. It just means it's only one submission for it in effect. In reality, it really does allow them to submit more than once for me, but it doesn't give them a report if I were giving it to them. I'm also going to exclude the bibliographic materials. I'm going to exclude quoted materials, and then submit, and then save, and I'm going to make it visible and save and close. There, I've set it up. Now, what a student will see is when they go into this course and they go to assessments, assignments, they're first going to use the text matching. So they'll go in there and they'll add a file, choose my computer, and they're going to pick this one and then submit, and then done. Now they'll be able to see their report if they go into this file completion status. And right now it's in progress. I could reload this to see, to get my report. It sometimes takes a minute. I'm just going to pause while I wait. Okay, it says it's a 31% similarity report. So this first part is testing whether there's artificial intelligence generated, and it says that it's the same as a certain publication, this one. So there's something in here that has a similarity with those words. There's just a few words there. Also, here's another one that seems to be citing a source on the internet, and this is indeed a source. I purposely copied and pasted this text, and it did find it in the internet. However, this is an original text that I typed, and it's not detecting it. So that's for the draft. And then, I'm just going to close those. The student may feel that they probably should change that one part, but let's just say they don't, and they submit it in the term paper. In this case, after they've done it, even when they click on this completion file, there's no ability for them to see the report because I didn't allow it. Now, one of my students emailed me a document saying that they couldn't submit it properly and they'd like me to submit it for them. You may not allow that, but I just want to show you how to do it in case you do. So first you'd have to download the document, and then you'd go to turnitin.com and log in. And then you'd go to this course and you'd see the term paper. And at the end, there's more actions and then submit. And then I'd be able to choose a student. Now this student isn't loaded in here. It's ADC test student 3. So I would have to go to students and add a student. I could also upload a list, but since I only have one here, I'm just going to add them in. Good. Now, if I go back to assignments and go to that term paper and submit a paper, I can choose that student, and I'll just call it the name of the paper that. I'm going to choose from this computer this one and upload. Meanwhile, while that's working, I can go back. Oh wait, I can see that it is the paper. They're just asking me to confirm it, and that's it. That's right. And go to assignment inbox. So it's working on that. But while it's working, I'm going to go back to D2L, and I'm going to go into the term paper, and I can see that I've had some submissions. I have to click on each of these. Now, one of my students said that they did not want it checked, and so I have a different arrangement with them. So I'm going to leave that one blank. But this one, I'm going to click, and that's in progress. I'm just going to pause while I'm waiting for that. Okay, So I have got a report here on ADC test student 2, and it says there's 63%. So I'm just gonna go check it out. There's not a magic number. It's just a flag for me to go and look more carefully. And it did not detect the artificial intelligence that I used here. Um, it did detect that this, which was copied from ADC3, it detected that it was. And where that is in the similarity tools there. There's a 63. And all the stuff here, number 2, is copied from another student's paper. And if I'm curious, what student is this from? And it's one that was submitted to Mount Royal University. It could be a different university. I would never be able to check, but because it's our own university, I can check. If I click on that, I can see it was submitted by ADC Test Student 3, and there's the offending material. Um, Also, it is detecting, I did copy and paste this content down here from a journal, and it is properly finding it from that journal. So next, I want to go see the one that I emailed, and here's a report on that one. And if I click on it, I can see that this one is submitted first, even though ADC Test Student 2 was the first one to compose it. ADC Test Student 3 was the first one to submit it. So Turnitin believes that ADC Test Student 3 is the original author of this material. And yet these few small words that here are similar to somebody else's. There's another text from number 1, which is this text is another submitted paper from an Ontario university, and I can't get I can request, but I don't get an automatic report on that. And again, the AI was not detected as AI. I could use those decisions when I evaluate the text. Perhaps with this student that had something copied and I couldn't tell, I would give them the 0 and tell them why. I save as draft and go to the next person. And for this one, I might give them also a 0 because according to the term paper that they submitted, there were parts that they copied. And that is, and then I didn't change the first one. I have to grade that one. I'm going to give them 80. I could type in here why that is. I can even view it over here. And I could, or maybe after I detect it myself, I find out that they also didn't do it right, and maybe I give them 0 and explain here why. That's up to you. And then when I save that, then I can go back to submissions and I can publish that feedback all at once. And that's how to use Turnitin to grade assignments.